I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won one. I hope my team they won one. Yeah, man. I hope my team they won one. I hope my team they won one. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with David L. Rhodes, Jeff Johnson, and Brandon King. We have all three today. Gentlemen, how you doing, Jeff?
Oh man, sometimes I just wish I was that alum that just comes just to don't even pay attention to the game, just to watch the bands, because when you lose, it hurts, and so I'm all right though. I just didn't like losing in that fashion.
Well, we'll get into that. Mr. King, you should be the happiest one here, man. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. It's finally good to come off assignment and finally be in the studio with you good brothers today.
Yeah, man. We needed some Tennessee State perspective, man, because you're the only one that's winning right now. You guys are the only one that are actually getting W's out in these streets in the independent side of the fence.
Yeah.
So, for me, man, like it was a tough loss. Like I was at Alabama State's homecoming this weekend. So shout out to Alabama State. I had a blast. I got to check out Alabama State and FAMU live and in person this weekend. So I enjoyed myself down in Montgomery. But let me do the quick rundown and we'll talk about our game. So we're gonna flip it, but since we're only gonna have you for a short period of time while you go back to assignment, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, welcome to episode 561 of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast, the show that's covering the sporting HBCU diaspora, all things HBCU sports for institutions large and small, from the NAIA to the NCAA. We share insights and information on HBCU sports culture and HBCU athletic aesthetics to facilitate the story of HBCU's athletic programs and the business of HBCU sports. I'm your host, David L. Rhodes, and along with my co-hosts, Jeffrey Johnson and Brandon King, we are filming from our home studios and sending a signal live to our KCOH 1230 AM studios with the Texas Radio Hall of Famer Ralph Cooper and the beautiful home of Texas Southern University from Houston, Texas. All right, so we'll start with A&T's game, only because I feel a way about it. I didn't think we were going to play this well. I'll be honest with you guys. A&T ended up going down to Richmond and losing 20-17. We had plenty of opportunities to win. We were leading 10-0 at one point during the game. Then we gave up 20 unanswered points, but we came back and we tried to fight it out. We had an opportunity to take the lead, and then we ended up having one of our freshman running backs fumble the ball and turn the ball over while we're going down the field. Very familiar territory from what we've done in the past for the previous season. But I appreciate the effort for those guys, because considering the last set of blowouts, we've been giving up 500 yards per game offensively against our opponents. So it was good to see us actually be competitive against a top 25 team. I don't know if you guys watched the game at all. I had to go back and watch the replay because, like I said, I was at homecoming. I caught the first quarter, so I saw the lead. Then I saw the reality at the end, but then I went back and watched the game and saw what happened. I'm proud of the guys. The bye week couldn't come sooner. But we had opportunities to make some history and pull an upset, but we just couldn't get it done.
Yeah, I watched some of the game, some of the highlights, and it looks like your guy, Fomby, 22 of 27, man.
Yeah, man, he balled.
Yeah, I was like, where'd that come from?
Well, here's the thing about Fomby, right? Like Fomby, he can throw the football. He has a cannon.
Yeah.
Sometimes he just makes mental mistakes and he'll throw the ball somewhere he ain't got no business throwing it. But when he's on, he's on, and he was on against Richmond that day.
Yeah. So it shows me, I would say, a level of competency, with Coach Brown and his program. But Richmond's is no pushover program, so it's there. the team is there. It's just that how are we going to get this level of consistency out of A&T? So
Yeah. I don't want to be the guy to think, all right, maybe they were utilizing the first set of games as like trying to figure it out, but based on what I saw, man, those questions should come. But there was no press conference this week, so he dodged that bullet this week. Because of the bye, there's no Monday press conference.
Yeah.
Any thoughts, Brian? Did you catch any of it or see some of the?
I didn't. I saw a little bit. I guess I have a few questions because, like I said, I'm not as familiar with A&T football as I once was. When you look at, like I said, they had a chance to win the game and they couldn't quite get over the hump. Do you think, as an A&T guy, is it a matter of them being a younger team and just having to go through those lumps to learn how to execute in those instances? Because that's something I can relate to. And do you think, even though I'm not necessarily a big guy in quote unquote moral victories, but with them playing as competitive as they was with a team of that caliber in Richmond, do you feel like there were some things that you saw that they can build on as they go forth in the season and they start to kind of get into the teeth of conference play?
I think I saw some things. I think I saw some things from the passing game. The running game, man. Right now, our best running back is currently a walk-on because our top two running backs are out. And I believe both of them are. I think one of them is definitely out for the season. One could possibly come back. So from that standpoint, I think everybody's just trying to learn how to win, learn how to play, so to speak, play at this level. And we do have a very young roster. But at the same time, the head coach is also learning how to be a head coach. That's the reality of it, right? So everybody's kind of learning at the same time. But it is funny because the head coach of Richmond, those two were on the staff together when they won the national championship back in 2008. So there's a level of respect for Vincent Brown as a coach. And even when shout out to Blue Death Valley, they interviewed Bob Black, who's like the radio announcer for Richmond, and he talked about how he's a well-respected coach. And you have to be patient to let him get the program set up. And this is where we're at. It's just Aggies aren't patient sometimes, but most football fans aren't. So from that standpoint, I think we just got to have some level of patience a little bit, let him develop his guys, bring his people in, get a couple of recruiting classes in and see what happens. But he's shown that he's capable. Saturday encouraged me a bit. Now I'm not ready to. I don't know if I'm ready to discuss the following week, but we'll see after the bye. But we'll see.
I mean, I kind of look at it as it seems like he's kind of taking that Mike Tomlin approach. Just win with strong defense. Control the ball, but at the same time, though, this is not a ball control offense and defense. That kind of died, I would say, a decade ago. So,
here's the other problem, Jeff.
Yeah,
that sounds great, but this is the first game against a Division I team that we didn't give up 500 yards.
Yeah,
offense.
That's true.
But it's still over 400 yards. We gave up close to 300 yards rushing.
Yeah,
286. That's the big thing that I need to see improved upon the bye. I understand the scheme that they want to run. But I think it's time to run what you can with the guys that you have.
Yeah, and that was a Rod Broadway philosophy,
Yeah.
That, you run the plays with the guys that are on the field, It's like
the defense did play better, but it's still not enough. I think you're not going to win too many games giving up almost 300 yards rushing. You're just not.
Yeah, but I guess with this level of football today, that's kind of coming with it. 300. You said 300 yards rushing. Yeah,
they gave up. Zach Palmer-Smith ran for 200 yards. Andrew King ran for 100.
No,
and the quarterback lost 11 yards, which is why.
No, I could see passing, but Lord have mercy, that's bad.
Nah. Passing, we did all right. The quarterback only threw for 124 yards. So the passing, our secondary is pretty good. We got a cornerback on our team that got a legitimate shot to make the NFL.
Okay.
Karan Prunty's legit. So I think we have the talent in some aspects, but our front seven isn't the best. and that's what's been killing us. That's why everybody keeps running down our throat.
Yeah.
So,
gotcha.
All right, Brandon, we're going to give you the helm, man. Tennessee State out here saying they want to win the OVC.
Well, this is the second straight week that we've kind of had to come from behind, and I'm gonna be honest. When it was 20-7, I was very concerned. I was like, here we go again, because and Coach George just talked about it on OVC media calls. I think he said the stat he gave, it was like 4 of their last 5 conference games they've gotten off to starts to where they've been down by double digits. And though the Charleston Southern game didn't play out that way, this one kind of did. With them, particularly when they got out 14-0 within the first 4 minutes of the game, you're like, oh boy, this one looks like it might be headed to, as Marv Albert would say, extensive garbage time in the second half. And again, the defense once again stepped up. From that point on, from 4 minutes to go until the end of the game, you only give up 2 field goals, and then the offense finally starts to find a rhythm. You make some plays, and then you're able to execute at the end of the game. Which them being able to do that, it's been kind of a step that we've been waiting for this team to take for at least a year and a half. We saw it last year. We got off to the 6-2 start, and then it kind of fell off. For a lot of these reasons of late game executions and things of that nature. So to see them be able to kind of again be down early on, kind of get hit with that blow and being able to come back is really good to see. And asked Coach George about it this week, and he said he was happy to see the resiliency that the team is showing, and that he feels that they've started to kind of turn that corner in terms of being able to execute in those situations and win those types of games, because it's not going to get any easier. I know we're going to talk about the games next week, but nonetheless, great win, because it could have easily went the other way. So now you're you're in the mix atop the OVC, which we were kind of there last year. So as we get into the rest of the schedule, it would be nice to not have to have these types of captain courageous comeback moments. But they've shown a lot, in terms of resiliency and able to kind of come back. So it's encouraging to see as a TSU fan, and we'll be able to build on that as the season plays itself out.
I hope you guys keep it going, man. I think a lot of folks think you guys have a legitimate shot to win that conference. And I'll be honest, Tennessee Tech took me aback a little bit when you guys lost to them, but I still think, there's only one game. You guys can still run the table and win that conference. I think you guys have the talent to do it, and I think everybody's rooting for that to happen, because it'd be nice to see an HBCU and FCS playoffs.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Do you feel that George has changed the culture around since the Rod Reed days?
I think so. A lot of people, because people would talk to me, and this is in like year 2, less than 10 games into his era, and they're like, man, they need to fire him. And I'm like, who you going and bring in who? First of all, you're jumping the gun, because let's be honest, when after the Reed era, the cupboard was somewhat bare. It wasn't a lot there left to work with. So I'm always of the ilk, you have to give a coach at least one recruiting class to see what he can do when he gets his guys in there, and you're so ready to run them off. But I can see that they are starting to turn the corner, and you're starting to see the program start to kind of take the shape that he wants it to take, because you bring in, your quarterback, Draylon Ellison, and he's big on, accountability, and Draylon wasn't doing some things that he needed to be doing, or vice versa. And as a result, there was a time where he wasn't with the team. And I think if you're willing to do that to your quarterback, that sends a message, of wanting to do things the right way, and accountability, And it's those types of things. If you can't do what you're not supposed to do off the field, then how you gonna do what you're supposed to do on the field? And I think, from what I've seen, I do sense that this team is a little different than even last year's, when we got off to that 6-2 start and the wheels kind of fell off. Um, I think with staff and the guys who were there, and they kind of saw what what can happen if you take your eye off the prize, if you don't do the little things um, throughout the week, then it's going to show up on Saturday. So um, I'm look, I'm cautiously excited and optimistic at the same time.
No, you should be, man. Like you should be. You should be.
Absolutely. I agree with you. It seems like this team is much more. They do not get scared with big leads. So,
yeah, and they're learning how to win. That's the key.
Yeah, but it was good to see Tennessee Tech get beaten by South Carolina State, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
very much
absolutely.
So. Yeah. They handled those guys.
Absolutely. Shout out to South Carolina State. All right, Jeff. I saved the best for last. Are you okay, man? We checking on you. Got to check on your close friends.
Oh God, that was.
Before let me put the score. The final score: Rhode Island Rams 46, Hampton Pirates 44 in double overtime.
Yeah.
Now, the game was an awesome game to watch.
Yeah.
I know folks won't see it because it's on Flow Sports.
Yeah.
But if you do get a Flow Sports subscription, that's when you need to go check out. Yeah. It's a really good game. Really good game.
Yeah. So let me kind of give this frame some context. So Hampton notoriously loses leads. I don't want to go all the way back to my days, but the biggest one was when we were up in the playoffs, the FCS playoffs, number 1 or number 2 ranked team, and we were playing New Hampshire at home. And we had, I would say, 7 NFL players on that team, whether it was Alonzo Coleman, Justin Durant, Andrea Jones, Marquay McDaniel, Nevin McCaskill, and the list goes on. And we had New Hampshire up by 10, probably with like three minutes left. And they fake a punt on a 4th and 14. And on 4th and 5, they fake a punt, drive it all the way down. We stop them on another 3rd down, and they end up kicking the field goal, scoring again. And we had them on the 4th and 25 to end the game. And they threw a wheel route for us, and that completely destroyed our national title chances. And the offensive coordinator for New Hampshire was Chip Kelly. And
oh my goodness!
Can you imagine?
Wow,
a wheel route, Ricky Santos to I forgot the kid's name over Jamari Jones, a 25-yard play on the 4th and 24. Just insane. But anyway, Chip. So. The thing was, starting from that, and just 2 years ago, we were up by 14 against Robert Morris late, and we lost that game. And so this is, I would say, somewhat of a culture of confidence, at Hampton. So when we started the game, I would say we were definitely into it. I think we ended the first quarter with 10-3 lead. Halftime, it was tied up 10-all. We're like, okay. And then Rhode Island just took like a huge, I would say, 4th quarter surge, and we literally had them up 14 points within 5-6 minutes.
6 minutes left in the game. Y'all were up 31-17.
And what I was, this is the issue that I had was when we were up, when they scored this 7 and we're up 7, and our defensive coordinator ordered these 0 blitzes. And Rhode Island was immediately ready for them. The tight end would just leak right out, and a 12-yard gain here. 3 straight plays of just straight blitzing. And they went from, I would say, their 25-yard line to our 25-yard line within 3 plays. Then an easy touchdown with a few minutes left on the clock. And then you want to go into a soft zone. So It was more about, okay, we were aggressive early, then we tried to be aggressive late, then now you want to back off. So it felt more like they could not figure out what they wanted to do late. And it was just, it was a heartbreaker. But I would say this, we finally found the guy, our quarterback, Malcolm Mays, and he threw, I think he was FCS. Yeah. Go ahead.
For 4 touchdowns. He was 24 for 28, 253 yards, 4 TDs.
Yep.
And he ran for a touchdown.
Yep. And
he had 5 total touchdowns.
Yep.
Get it done.
Yeah, got it done. And this is the wild part. He won FCS Player of the Week. So and so the thing was, now we have seen this before, because when we beat Albany at their homecoming, he was pretty much the leading force. But then he'll kind of go back into his hole, and you'll never see him again for the rest of the year. So I would say
I need that in 2 weeks. I need him to go back in his hole so we never see him again in 2 weeks.
It's just
literally
like you'll never see him again. But the thing was, I would say that once they scored that last touchdown to take us into overtime, I figured, it's over. But I'll give them credit. They fought in overtime, and it just came down to that one play where the quarterback ran a little naked bootleg, and we all bit on the option play on the read option. Yeah. He just walks right in. So I would say for Trent Boykin that, because he's the interim coach, I thought it was a heck of a game plan offensively. I do think that the defensive coordinator, he just could not kind of figure out, like how to stop these guys. Like they had a 2-quarterback system too. We pretty much stopped that pocket guy, and then they kind of put in another guy who was similar to what we had. And every 3rd down and long, I mean, it's interesting. You can stop him on 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1, but at 3rd and 14, he can run for it. And it's like, where's accountability? So it was a heartbreaker, and it just made me question, why do I freaking want to root for these teams, man?
You went to the school. That is why you root for the team.
No, it's just like
that's why you root for the team, sir.
Man, it's just
you went to the school.
When I say that those Facebook comment sections, Lord have mercy. But my thing is, because it's always, man, what's wrong with the team? What's wrong with them? It's like I don't know, but it was a hard loss because I felt we had it. I figured if we would have stopped on one of those 4th downs and probably took off another maybe 35, 40 seconds, we win. But it was just it was a terrible loss for the season. Horrible loss.
Yeah, I'll be honest, man. I thought y'all was gonna pull it out. I felt for y'all because I typically when I'm at a game, I tend to be score watching, and I saw that y'all were taking it to them boys, taking it to Rhode Island. I'm like, oh yeah, they might get this one. No, I mean, that's a top 25 opponent too, right? So that would have been big. That would have been big if you guys could have pulled that one out.
I would say like this: just watching the game, you could tell Rhode Island never flinched. Never flinched. They were like, by the time we were up 14, you could tell they just buckled in. And I think that our guys were, the thing is, certain times you might get disciplined plays. We had pass interferences in the end zone, defensive holding, primarily on pass plays when the ball was severely overthrown by Rhode Island. So when you have these type of mental lapses late in the game, then it's like, you're giving it to them. And so it's like if you just install that sort of discipline within the program, I'm not saying this is on Boykin, but all of these guys are the previous coaches' players. So it's just a lot of little things that you got to kind of tighten up that sometimes you can't even control because you might have a knucklehead over on one side of the ball that he's a great player. But, he talks back when another player is like shoving it and something erupts. So there's a lot of that.
Yeah, like I to piggyback to the A&T game real quick, and then we'll get Brandon's perspective, and then we'll go on break. One thing that I did get out of that A&T game was throughout the season so far, teams were not afraid to go for it on 4th down. And no matter where it is, right? They weren't afraid of going fourth down because they knew they could just run it down our throat. And we had moments during that game where we stopped them on fourth and short. Yeah, and when if this was earlier in the season, it wasn't going to happen. So there's some level of resolve, and that's progress that I've seen from the football team. But Brandon, I want to get your perspective on this game, man. I'm telling you, it was a barn burner if you ever seen one. I'm about to shoot you my flow info so you can get a glance.
Yeah, I really. Speaking of Hampton, I really thought they was gonna get the game. Like I said, because I was kind of like you. Had the kids, and you look up live stats, and you're looking at all these things. But like when I saw was up 31-17 halfway through the fourth, I said, "Oh, they're gonna lock this up. This is good. This is a quality win." And then I went away, and then I was like, "Let me check." I went onto the website. I was like, "Wait a minute, what? 46? How did this happen? Hold on here."
Yep.
Yeah, man.
But, those are some of the ones that are going to stick with you, and it could be a situation where either you can learn from it or it can torpedo your season.
Yeah, this is the type of game that would torpedo it. Yeah. I think a lot of it had to do is, if you notice, when those Rhode Island guys, they were yapping, we were yapping back, but the thing was that a lot of our guys sometimes I know it's intense. Just don't push back, because immediately, I think we had 3 unsportsmanlike penalties in crucial times, and immediately they start clapping in front of them like, "Got him." It's those type of plays, undisciplined plays that just, you let them back in the game, and this was multiple times. And it's that pretty much was a precursor pretty much of how everything happened. And once it got to overtime, we fought, but it was still undisciplined play at the end. And that's what it was all about.
All right. It's time to take our first break. I know this is a long opening segment, but it was necessary because I want to take advantage of having all these 2 gentlemen here. So when we come back after the break, we're going to talk about Tennessee State's homecoming. They got a homecoming game this homecoming week. So we'll be right back after the break.
If you think all pads are exactly the same, think again. This is Always Ultra Thins reinvented with the Always Triple Protection System. This pad wicks gushes 90% faster, absorbs even more so you can feel dry, and locks odors in. Rethink your pad for up to 100% leak-free and odor-free comfort with the totally reinvented Always Ultra Thins. This is always like never before.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
Nope.
Come on, him.
Ooh, I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up message quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
This is Brian Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Lab. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Lab, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
Compress the analytic data with your hip-hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they want a loss, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gonna teach a lesson.
Welcome to Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. So now we can talk about the games next week here. So the fortunate well, I think it's fortunate right now for at least for A&T's perspective. We're on bye this week. We can't lose on bye, guys. So but Hampton is on bye too, and we're playing each other for A&T's homecoming, the greatest homecoming on earth, on October 19th. But we have another homecoming this weekend. You're gonna have Stephen A. Smith there taping First Take. Gonna have the Eddie George interview with Stephen A. and Shannon Sharp. So, and you guys are playing Eastern Illinois this weekend. So talk to me about the festivities that's gonna be happening down in Nashville, Tennessee, Brandon.
Well, I think it's going to be the usual type stuff. I know there were some events that they had that had to be canceled and whatnot for whatever reasons. I think there's concerts and whatnot going on. I'm looking at it. Look, the older I get, the more I'm paying attention to Saturday, more so than Tuesday through whatever. So we've got Eastern Illinois coming in. Granted, they are 2-3, but they're a quality football team. They actually beat us last year, 30-17. So this is not a tomato can that we've got coming in here. On Saturday, they've got a quarterback, Riley Pierce, that he can spin it, and so I think he threw for about 300 in their loss that they had on Saturday. So from a defensive standpoint, we've got to be aware, particularly those guys on the back end, because like I said, he can absolutely throw it. I'm not as concerned. I think defensively, we've been playing very well, particularly over the past 2 weeks. I think what was it? Up until they got my mind just went blank. Freaking, who did we play? Lindenwood. Up until they scored.
Week, yeah.
Mine went blank.
My bad, man. I should have caught you. My bad. I apologize.
Until they scored that, they had a stretch. They hadn't allowed a touchdown in 7 quarters. They're making plays on the defensive side of the ball. Granted, there's been a few issues in terms of giving up some big running plays. So when you look at some of the numbers, it looks like, Charles Southern ran for 226. When you go back and watch it, it's more based on just really a play or two here or there. But outside of that, they did a pretty good job of containing the run. And I thought they did even a good job with limiting once they got behind early by the 2 touchdowns, in terms of just holding those guys to 2 field goals, which allowed your offense to kind of get you back in the game. And I want to go back to the Charleston Southern game because a lot of it was made, about it was a low scoring game, but a lot of people, when you look at it, the defense, granted, Charleston Southern had the ball for 41 minutes and 21 seconds of that game.
God.
The defense was on the field for 70 snaps as compared to 45. And for them to just limit those guys to 3 field goals being on the field for that long.
That's impressive, man.
It's very impressive. So if they continue to play at that level, you see the emergence of players like Sanders Ellis, who was just co-freshman of the week. The previous week had 11 tackles. You're starting to see him emerge. And I think guys, like Eric George are starting to make their presence felt, because when I was looking at them in the preseason in terms of our preview, we left the program. You had Monroe Beard, who was not only the leading tacklers on the team, but one of the leading tacklers in the Big South OVC. And then you lose all-world everything, Terrell Allen. Those gentlemen leave your program, and you're trying to figure out how you're going to fill this Terrell Allen and Monroe Beard size holes in your front seven. And it's been done by committee, and I can see guys starting to emerge, like some of the players I just mentioned, that are starting to get that done. and you're really starting to see that. So, offensively speaking, um, we've got from a running back perspective, you've got, and Coach George talked about this because I asked him on the last media call. I said you've got 4 or 5 guys. It's not just a situation where you've got one workhorse. You've got 3 or 4 guys that could be a featured back. Where you're talking about a C.J. Evans or Jalen Rouse or Jordan Gant, and you're starting to see those guys be utilized in terms of what they can do very well. Be it guys are able to catch out of the backfield and some of those other things. So, from a running game perspective, having those different looks, it makes it more difficult because you're not just defending for one guy. You have to be cognizant of 3 or 4 guys. Looking at the quarterback position, Draylon Ellis. And my thing with him has always been consistency in decision making. Because we still even saw it last year. You make some plays and then you would make a throw. You're like, what are you seeing out there to make this throw? And so far this season, by and large, his decision making and his consistency has been a lot better. You can see it in terms of even his completion percentage is going up. He's making a lot of the throws that you need him to make. And he's not as much as in previous seasons, trying to make the hero throw all the time or the questionable throw, and that keeps your defense out of bad position. So, looking at Eastern, I will pick them to win.
No way. They're 1-5, man. I'm not buying it. No, they're 1-5. They haven't won a conference game yet. That ain't gonna happen at your homecoming. I'm not gonna.
Remember what I told you. I'm cautiously optimistic. So, I'm not gonna count this one until it says 00.
Okay, I respect it. Oh man, y'all cannot lose this game getting homecoming.
Yeah, not the Eastern Illinois.
Nah, not Eastern Illinois, man.
Yeah, they had beat down after beat down, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're not. I don't think they're good. I could see a scenario where Tennessee State kind of underestimate them initially, but I think they'll close it out. Tennessee State's been good at this comeback thing, so I think they'll be able to pull this one out, man.
Look, I hope we don't have to have a comeback. I hope we can.
Yeah, I hope you have to dominate the game, but we know that you're capable if need be.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's the point, right? You shouldn't have to. You shouldn't have to. All right, you should not have to. I mean, this is your homecoming. You're gonna have a big crowd there. Like I said, I mentioned at the beginning of the segment. First Take gonna be there. ESPN First Take gonna be there. So it's gonna be a lot of things going on that weekend, man. Everybody's gonna be hyped for that game this weekend to try to be 3-1 in the conference, which would be great. That's progression. And then you got to go through some of these tougher teams later in the year. What are your thoughts, Jeff?
You know what? I think definitely. I wouldn't say that they would handle Eastern Illinois, but I would say they have more than enough to beat Eastern Illinois. I've watched a few of their highlights. They don't really look. They just look like a team that's still trying to find themselves. So, if I had to say, I would say Tennessee State 27, Eastern Illinois 13, and that's kind of conservative.
Yeah, I'm with you there. So I mentioned it earlier. A&T and Hampton are on bye, man, and we're gonna play each other upon our bye on October 19th in Greensboro for the greatest homecoming on earth. I after the first 6 games, it's tough for me to say.
Yeah.
Like the CAA is one of the toughest conferences in college in FCS football. Oh, yeah. So this coach hasn't won a conference game yet. If they're going to win one, it might be against you guys. I'll be honest with you. But I'm worried. I'm concerned about you guys because you guys can run the ball. Like, I'll be honest. Like, you guys can run the ball.
That is kind of a misnomer. Elijah Burr, something is definitely wrong with him because
think he's hurt?
Yeah, he has to be. Like, because Jaquan Snipes, when he got in, he ran through the same holes that Burris had, and he was pulling off maybe 6-yarders, 7-yarders, 8-yarders, whereas Burris, it seems that he always has that second gear, and he hasn't been able to get to it. So he hasn't been right since the Virginia Union game. So yeah, it's definitely something.
Yeah, so I need to circle back real quick because somebody asked a question in the chat, and I need your perspective on it, Brandon, in particular, man. MEAC or SWAC if Tennessee State ever jumps into another conference?
I get that a lot. So here's my thought on that. One, it probably wouldn't happen until 2030, but that's another story.
Yeah, that's a whole different discussion. That's a whole episode, man.
Okay, so geographically speaking, the SWAC would make most sense. Particularly if our current athletic administration is going to remain, because one of their things, even among staying in the Big South OVC, was traveling. In terms of, at that time, a lot of the teams are roughly within the drivable distance. So if that is going to be one of your pillars of why you would make the change, then the SWAC makes the most sense. Now, stylistically, from an on-field standpoint, I think we play more like a MEAC team than we do a SWAC team. But then if you make that move, do you want to have to go all the way up to Dover, Delaware to play games? Do you really want to do that?
I'm gonna say the same thing. Listen, man, no, but I'm gonna say the same thing that I've always said when it comes to this, man. If you add some more teams, you got to do divisions.
Yeah,
I think part of the reason why they had that a decent chunk of those teams that left during that period of time was because of the fact that there was no divisions.
Blame Dennis Thomas on it.
I mean, I don't have to blame anybody on it. I don't have to point fingers and give names. It's just I think them not doing divisions affected a lot of things, and we can say that maybe the Florida schools should have been in the SWAC anyway. But at the same time, I think the travel cost was becoming a problem.
Yeah,
that was just the reality of it.
Yeah.
I mean, for them to get all the way to Dover.
Yeah.
That ain't that. And we're not just talking about football, right? We're talking about all the sports. Like, you gotta. Yeah. Those things got to be taken into account.
Now, hold on. If you think about it from the SWAC's perspective, I mean, we have some programs. What is it? Prairie View headed to FAMU. That's pretty far, right?
It is far, but if you had but you have
divisions,
you have divisions, so you don't have to do that every year, right?
Yeah,
and that's the key. Like I think that would have been beneficial to when Savannah State was in the conference. You could split it up. Because at one point we had 12 teams.
Yeah, we had Winston-Salem and Savannah.
Yeah.
It could have helped. It could have helped both.
It could have helped them both. I mean, but that's a whole different. Like I said, that's another episode. I mean, I personally think MEAC is a better fit for you guys from how you play football, from an academic standpoint. I think because typically you do try to. I know there's always a back and forth about does academics matter when it comes to the alignment. It does, and I think from that standpoint, I think the MEAC will probably be a better fit. But I can understand the SWAC with those rivalries, but you'll have space to do those games for those rivalry games. If you want to do a home and home with Tennessee Jackson, or if you want to try to do a Tennessee FAMU or something to that effect, you have a little bit of space on the schedule to make it happen.
The Tennessee State and FAMU, the fact that we don't see them anymore, that's such a travesty, man. Well, I grew up on that in Atlanta, man. Oh,
yeah, I did too. That was when it was going. That was right around the time that I came to TSU and going there every year.
Yeah.
But that's a game that should happen at some
a
neutral site, a home and home. It's just one of those things that should happen. There are 3 games that should be on our schedule, I feel like, at the bare minimum every other year.
Yeah.
And that's us in Jackson.
Yeah.
Us in FAM.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get the ball rolling on this myself. If there is a battle of the HU, the real HU, then there needs to be Texas Southern and TSU.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, you need to invite them to the Southern Heritage Classic and problem solve, my man.
Well, I mean, contracts are coming up, so
I'm just saying. I mean,
Yeah.
Look,
Yeah.
I've been floating that idea out there. I don't have the juice to make it happen, but
you sound like me. I mean, we do have a home with you guys. We head to Nashville next year, so I plan on flying down for that one. So
I will be in attendance for that.
Yeah.
So, all right, we're gonna take the final break. Are you gonna stick around, Brandon? Because we got to close out in 10 minutes anyway. So if you want to stick around, it's your call. But
I think I probably got the.
You make your exit, man. Listen, man, I don't want to be responsible for any problems. So, it was good seeing you, my man. And we're definitely gonna try to we're gonna get you back here. We're gonna make this work. So after the break, me and Jeff are gonna close out the show, and maybe we might talk some MEAC basketball or something. We'll see.
Oh God. But I need to hear your take about the Alabama State game. Like, I've never been to the stadium.
Okay, yeah. We'll close out the show me talking about my homecoming experience at Alabama State. So we'll do that upon my return. We'll be right back after this break.
Gotcha.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Supermarket sushi, really?
No. Wait, Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes.
Never not working, huh?
Oh, Troy, you're such a good teacher.
Yeah, I know. Never not working. Never not working. Never ever not working.
Are you serious?
Never not working. Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology.
Hey, grab me one too.
Charmin Ultra Soft has so much cushiony softness, it's hard for your family to remember they can use less.
Sweet pillows of softness.
This is soft. Holy Charmin. Oh, excuse me. Roll it back, everybody. Sorry.
Charmin Ultra Soft is so cushiony soft, you'll want more, but it's so absorbent, you can use less, so it's always worth it.
Now, what did we learn about using less? You gotta roll it back, everybody.
We all go, why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavil of Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
Compress the analytic data with your hip-hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they want a loss, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
Welcome back to Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, and shout out to Brandon for making it in this week, man. I'm glad to see him. I'm glad we got the perspective from Tennessee State. But now I'm going to give you guys my perspective on the experience I had this weekend. So this weekend I flew down to Montgomery, Alabama. One thing I will say about going to Montgomery, they do not have too many gates there. They only have one baggage claim there. Did not realize how small that airport was.
Oh, stop.
No, but I will say this. I didn't get the opportunity to tour the campus like I wanted to because I had a lot of other things going on. However, I did go to the game on Saturday, and let me say, those guys, that stadium that Alabama State has.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. I was sold when I went to the Nest.
Yeah.
So the Nest, for those who don't know, the Nest, they have a bar on the second floor. It's pretty much it's connected to the stadium.
Stop.
and you can walk if you walk around a corner to the bar. And I put a video on Twitter about it. Did I put no? I didn't put a video on Twitter, but I have a video of me walking through the bar Saturday night after the game, and there's a view, and there's a pretty much a view to the stadium, so you can go. There's a seating area over there, so it's very nice. And I got really good tickets, and like I did pick on my Aggies and remind them. I showed them how much I paid for my ticket. I got load seating, so basically you get a countertop, for your food, and you got a nice cushy chair. And I reminded them that we could charge more for our homecoming guys, and it's okay.
Yeah,
I believe the ticket I had was $210. So you could change. Yeah, you could change.
You know what? It's interesting because I always feel like the younger generation, they're okay with paying that. The older guys, it's like, what are we paying? No, absolutely not.
No, I mean, people pay for what they want to pay for. That's one thing I've learned, right?
Yes.
Like, I'm competing in a big video game tournament this weekend. I decided to pay in advance to go compete in Connecticut on Saturday, on Friday.
Okay.
Right? Like, I made that decision. That was money I was willing to spend and pay for.
Gotcha.
People spend what they want to pay for, but the experience was great. I enjoyed the fifth quarter between FAM and Alabama State. Alabama State, man, God, man, their offense is so rough, and then special teams didn't help them at all. I don't want to get into the details of the game, but but overall, the experience was great. Shout out to Alabama State alums. I know my guy Melanated Righteously on Twitter. He went viral over the grilled honey buns. I was chilling at his tailgate. I was chilling at his tailgate. Yeah. I was chilling at his tailgate. Oh, I didn't get to have one. Like I didn't get there in time for he was doing grilled honey buns with Red Hots. I didn't get there in time for that. God. No, but it was, from what I understand, it was good. But shout out to him and his family. They took care of me at the tailgate. Okay. Shout out to my Siglet brothers. They took care of me at theirs as well. Yeah. But overall, I had a blast. I think when you talk about athletic facilities, a lot of us got a long way to go to catch up to Alabama State. I heard the Prairie Views is pretty good too. I've never been to Prairie View. Yeah. But if we're gonna argue about who's got the best ones in HBCU, that's the debate. Yeah, those two are the debate.
And but it's a shame. Why is their program not advanced? Because they were talking about this on the MEAC fans in the HBCU sports section. They were saying, because of course they always have ammunition for both us at Hampton and A&T, talking about why haven't we progressed or have we improved, athletically since we left the CAA. And then somebody brought up a really good point with Alabama State's $65 million facility. Have they, have they ever won the SWAC? And Alabama A&M,
not since they got the facility, but that facilities are relatively new. Yeah. But at the same time, you have to build. And they've had some rough luck, man. I mean, they lost 2 quarterbacks in their first game. They're down to their 4th-string quarterback. Like they were predicted to win the conference. Yeah. So I mean, and even then, some folks thought it was egregious at that time because that was kind of disrespectful to FAMU, that was disrespectful to Jackson State, and that's understandable. Yeah. But they're in a rough spot, man. They had I felt like Alabama State had a chance to win that game if they could start fast, because FAMU did not. FAMU tends to start slow, and they haven't played in a couple weeks. Yeah. But they couldn't get nothing going offensively, and that was pretty much the downfall of them. Then you had a kicker that missed 3 field goals. Four. They missed 4.
How does that happen?
And they weren't, and these weren't like 50 yarders that he was missing. He was missing field goals within the 40. He was, it was brutal. That was literally the difference in the game. Because you're talking 12 points, 28-13, and then touchdown was off the turnover. Yeah. It was a score type of situation. So it was rough. Yeah. It was rough. Yeah. Okay. That's really the difference in the game, because they wouldn't have had no urgency if those field goals were made. Yeah. Oh, okay. That isn't really playing that well at the position. Anything to say before we close out the show?
You know what? I think you said basketball.
We can wait for another time. We got plenty of time to talk about basketball. I was going to talk about the fact, and shout out to the MEAC put out their rankings. I know the Howard and Norfolk State women are supposed to. They're projected to tie. They were projected to tie for first. Yeah, they had a tie for first, and Howard kind of ran away with it on the men's side.
Yeah,
which I'm not shocked by.
Blakeney, like I see him a lot of times around up here in DC, and I was like, yeah,
no. Blakeney out here trying to sell. Blakeney out here trying to sell a stake of the team, man. He trying to do something different with that basketball program.
Yeah, and you know what? And I appreciate that type of thinking because we haven't had it in a while. So yeah, shout out to him.
All right, I gotta find Where is my file? Now I can't close the show because I'm not prepared right now. This is not good. Give me 1 second, guys. All right, let me close out the show because we got to get to we gotta do the closure. But I'm out here hustling backwards today. It's been a long week.
Yo, I don't even know. It's like, are we coming? Are we going? This whole week, man.
Yeah, this week has been, and it's only Wednesday. That's the key.
I know.
That's the key. All right, we're ready to rock. All right. If I think I can get ready to rock, let me see. All right, thank you for listening for Inside HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you share our podcast with your friends and colleagues. I'm David Rhodes, and this is Jeffrey Johnson. Shout out to Dr. Cavil, the Dean of HBCU Sports, for giving us the opportunity to do this show. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we look forward to you next week as we discuss the latest news in the lab. Our Twitter handles are right here. And make sure you follow Dr. Cavil on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And make sure you follow Inside HBCU Sports Lab 1 on Facebook and Inside HBCU Sports Lab on YouTube. Dream big and continue to move forward. We'll talk to you soon. Jeff?
Of course.
Lecture dismiss.